Hey, it's Sela Social Studies.
Hey guys, welcome back to Sela Social Studies. So I wonder if you picked up at the end of the Bill of Rights that I said that it was a compromise that helped lead to the success of the nation. I'm about to cover two more compromises with this one here, the Great Compromise, and the next one, the Three-Fifths Compromise, another one that shows you how important compromises were at the beginning of our nation. And both of these compromises are going to revolve over one thing: representation. Representation, one word that would keep the nation's delegates arguing day and night for weeks on end during the creation of our government. In the summer of 1785, 55 delegates met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to try to fix the fallacies of the Articles of Confederation, which was the original constitutional government that lasted from 1781 to 1789, and instead wrote the new Constitution for the United States. The stark differences between the abolitionist North and slave-owning South led to a series of compromises that were struck to appease both sides on the issues of slavery, states' rights, and yes, representation. The Great Compromise is otherwise known as the Connecticut Compromise, and it was the solution to many fierce debates over the issues of states' representation in Congress. After all, if your state has more representatives, then your state will have more power and influence on legislative votes. It's that easy. So how were the founding fathers going to divide delegates in Congress? The governor of Virginia, Edmund Randolph, proposed the idea of the Virginia Plan, otherwise called the Large States Plan. Randolph's plan called for the representation of the states be based on the population or wealth of that state. Randolph was also hoping that when population was counted for representation, that slaves would count. This plan would surely benefit the larger states because they normally held larger populations because of their size, their enslaved populations, and in the late 1780s, Virginia was the most populated state. Now, William Patterson, a statesman from New Jersey, disagreed. One reason was because Patterson resided in an abolitionist state, and he didn't have that large slave population to count as representation. Patterson proposed the New Jersey Plan, otherwise known as the Small States Plan. Patterson stated that New Jersey Plan said that each state should have equal representation in Congress. The states should be equal and the representation should be as such. Now, marathon debates about states' representation took weeks in Congress. When neither side caved, a senator from Connecticut named Oliver Ellsworth and a statesman and future member of the House of Representatives from Connecticut, Roger Sherman, proposed the Connecticut Compromise, otherwise known as the Great Compromise. Now, the Great Compromise gave the large states and the small states what they wanted. That's why it's a compromise. It created a bicameral legislature, which meant that there would be two houses of delegates: the upper house, also known as the Senate, and the lower house, known as the House of Representatives. The Senate mirrored the New Jersey Plan, where each state had equal representation. Each state has two senators. The House of Representatives mirrors the Virginia Plan, where each state is issued delegates based on the size of the state's population. The more people that live in your state, the more representatives you are issued. Once this was established, the conversation returned back to what would happen with the enslaved population of the state. How would they be counted? This is going to be discussed in the next section when we cover the Three-Fifths Compromise. I'll see you next time.